Simcha, celebration, Simcha, Simcha, celebration of life.
Hello, welcome to Simcha, a celebration of life. I'm Nikki Wallman. Author Yorum Bogacz studied science and then became a Torah scholar. He believes that the realm of science can be easily agenda-driven, motivated by politics, economics, and self-promotion. Bogacz's book Genesis and Genes aims to set the record straight. In this work, he uses scientific knowledge and Torah principles to examine and challenge scientific beliefs and assumptions that are often taken for granted. This eye-opening book aims to leave the reader both highly informed and inspired.
Well, I'm interested in the big questions in life. What is life? How did life come to be on Earth? Is being a human being just a physical experience, or is there more to it? And the title, I think, captures the essence of these questions. Genesis and Genes. Genesis, of course, hints to the religious aspect over here. What does Judaism have to say about how life arose, and whether it's completely a naturalistic phenomenon, or whether there's more to human beings than mere physical nature. And the genes part of it relates to and alludes to the scientific content of the question. I think that one needs to be scientifically literate in order to discuss these issues. And much of the book is about becoming scientifically literate, what I call an informed consumer of science. I grew up in a thoroughly secular home, and I had a secular education. As late into my university education, I was an ardent believer in biological evolution. I saw no reason to doubt it. And that's because of conditioning. We're exposed to these ideas so often. We are bombarded by certain ideas that make us predisposed to accept certain viewpoints. It took me a long time, and it was a very difficult period, to reject that viewpoint and to come to the conclusion that, in fact, one should harbor deep skepticism about biological evolution. And it was a process in which I looked at two sides of the picture, both Jewish sources. I wanted to find out what they say precisely, and for that I had to become a Talmudic scholar. At the same time, I had to look at the scientific evidence. I had to educate myself about what biologists say, and other scientists, geologists and others, what they say about the history of life. What do we know with certainty, and what do we speculate about, and where to draw the line between knowledge and speculation. I devoted an entire chapter to the question of hominids. Hominids are supposed to have evolved into full human beings. Some Jewish writers have suggested that there are Torah sources that describe this process of a hominid at some point being infused, if you will, with a soul and becoming a full human being. That makes the Torah viewpoint more compatible with the scientific viewpoint of the origins of humanity. And I found that these sources do not exist. All Jewish sources describe the creation of human beings as a once-off event. Adam, according to Jewish sources, was created de novo, from scratch. One has to treat this with integrity. One can't read into the sources what one wants to see in the sources. You have to be honest with the sources. You have to treat them with integrity. And if the sources are Torah sources, are Jewish sources, if they say that the creation of humanity was a once-off event, then that's what they say. Whether this is compatible with current scientific thinking or not is a different matter. We've had historical experience whereby Judaism proposes a certain position which at the time is scientifically unpopular. So one example of that is the creation of the universe. The Big Bang is pretty much compatible with Judaism. It's very similar to the description in Genesis of the universe just coming into being. But most people don't realize that scientific view is very recent. It only dates back to about 1965. Before that, you find that the vast majority of scientists believed that the universe was eternal. It had always been there. It was never created. When you look at traditional Jewish sources on questions that have scientific relevance, you always have to keep in mind that you have to look at these sources with integrity. If it seems that these sources contradict contemporary scientific wisdom, so be it. It might be that in 20 years or in 50 years or in 200 years, scientific views will have changed, as in the example of the Big Bang. Genesis and Jesus is accessible. I didn't write it as a textbook, and it's certainly not meant for professional scientists or anyone with a background in science. I tried and I worked very hard to make it accessible to any person who's moderately intelligent and interested in the big pictures, big questions rather, in life. People who want to know about what contemporary biology has to say about the origin of life. People who want to know what evidence we have for it. So it is accessible. This book is not limited in its appeal just to observant Jews or even to just Jews. I wrote it with a very broad audience in mind. I think that it would be useful to members of any religion, really, or people without any religion who are interested in this type of question. It is certainly doesn't require a background in Judaism or science. As long as one is interested in the topic, I think that the book is accessible.
Earlier this year, the Wizo Foundation and the Cape Town Gardens School hosted a glitz and gourmet women's breakfast. The ladies were treated to a lavish breakfast, Shabbat table settings, a fashion show, and some new food creations to spice up their Shabbat dinners. Simcha, of course, was there to capture all the fabulous delights of the morning.
Wizo, Women International Zionist Organization, is the largest voluntary women Zionist organization in the world. And South Africa is one of the first federations that joined Wizo, supporting women and children in Israel, working in the community with Jewish education and Zionism.
It was a morning about fashion and food and glamour and decor, and really taking the modern elements of the 21st century to enhance our Shabbat experience, our day of rest. And it was a celebration of women, a celebration of friendship, a celebration of unity. And as we know, it's the women that are the glue that keep the community together.
Part of the program of the morning was about the Shabbat table and the festive tables. And as women, we are head of a family, we teach our children, and part of our Jewishness is our Zionism and Israel as entirety for the Jewish people.
I cut up the aubergine into wedges and I lay them out onto trays with a mixture of olive oil and vegetable oil. I just lightly brush them. Obviously a bit of salt and pepper, and then you pop it into the oven at 180 for about 40 minutes until they're nice and golden brown and crispy, and they'll turn out to look something like this. Then for the topping, this is just blanched green beans, asparagus and mange too, which you literally just boil up the water, throw the vegetables in for about 2 minutes, drain them and put them under ice cold water, and that way they stay nice and green.
What a wonderful day it's been here today at the Garden Shul. We've had all the ladies of the Jewish community in Cape Town come together for glitz and gourmet and lots of fashion, food, decor. It was an amazing event and the ladies really had a wonderful time.
It's been wonderful to be here today, to have all the ladies of the community, both young and old, to support this joint venture. And we thank everybody for coming, and we really hope that they enjoyed themselves.
As a Zionist women organization, Judaism is very important, and this function, to have it here, just adds so much of the values that the organization stands for.
And it really was a pleasure at the Garden Shul to host this event together with the Benoth Zion Wizo. All the ladies enjoyed it, and may we always just be able to come together to celebrate happy occasions, to celebrate each other, to celebrate festivals, and to celebrate our Jewish religion enhanced by all the modern tools and modernity of the 21st century.
Well, that brings us to the end of this week's show. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember to join us same time next week, Sunday. And if you'd like to catch up on any shows you might have missed, you can find them on our website at www.spiritsister.co.za. And of course, we love hearing from you, so find us on Facebook at Spirit Sister Productions. As always, from me, Nikki, and the team, shalom, and have a safe and peaceful week.